Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match. Nadal versus Alcaraz, Madrid 2022 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Carlos Alcaraz gets his win over Rafa Nadal, third time of trying after losing at Indian Wells just a month ago, losing at this very event last year in Madrid in convincing fashion. This time, it is Alcaraz in 3. He will face Novak Djokovic in the semifinal. Strange match, but a huge win for Carlos Alcaraz and a really, really strong performance from him. Not as much on the Nadal side of things. We're going to get into all of that. What does this mean? How do Madrid conditions come into play? And how does this change how we might look at Paris? I'll talk about that. I want to talk about Alcaraz's serve strategy. I want to talk about the Alcaraz fall and what effect that had in the match when he turned his ankle in the second set. I want to talk about Nadal's forehand and Alcaraz's aggression. All of that after a quick shout out to PlayYourCourt, the place to go if you're looking for a local coach, practice partner, or match. The number one reason people stop playing tennis is because they can't find anybody to play with, and I don't want that to happen to you. So I have arranged a 50% discount for you to join the PlayYourCourt community at the link below, playyourcourt.com/GillGross. Link is in the description. There was a big difference in this match between how each player was able to capitalize on attackable balls in situations that called for attack, that called for aggression and offense. Well, I'd say there were two things. The first thing is that Alcaraz's definition of what should be attacked and when there should be attack was a looser definition of what Nadal brought to the court. That's a pretty abstract way of saying Alcaraz is more fearless and more aggressive and more proactive and more eager to dictate and be in control. Where I didn't feel that same level of urgency to dictate from Nadal. The confidence wasn't at that same level, or the fearlessness wasn't at that same level for Nadal. So Alcaraz was very content to be the player with the higher output of both winners and errors in this match. And that's how Carlos wanted to play. But the problem was, for Nadal, when there were opportunities to attack, was he cashing those opportunities in? Was he taking advantage of short balls and turning them into points won? Or was he allowing Alcaraz to turn defense to offense? Was he passing up on the opportunity to attack altogether? On the other side of the coin, there's a certain ruthlessness to Carlos Alcaraz's ability to capitalize on those same very situations. Especially, I would say, on the backhand side, where so many players are unable to do that against Nadal. So I would say Nadal, especially with his forehand, not enough depth. Too many short balls. But we see against a lot of righties, they are unequipped to take advantage of that. Alcaraz is very happy to step in, and on clay, this is even harder on the slower surface because we know that backhands just generally aren't big enough to really do a lot of damage from behind the court on clay. Alcaraz has unbelievable pace on his backhand, and he's able to step in, take the ball early, take rips off his backhand, and make Nadal pay for dropping the ball short on his cross-court forehand. Many players are not able to do that. So all in all, if you look at the situations where Alcaraz was just taking matters into his own hand and winning on his own terms, you have to tip your hat. Sublime aggression from Alcaraz. Also on the forehand, coming forward, mixing it up, using the drop shot as he always does so well. Alcaraz was unbelievable in this match in both the first and the third sets. And I do want to give a shout out while I'm talking about this, before I move on, when it comes to just Alcaraz really finding ways to win on his own terms. Like, look at how he served it out. Because one thing Nadal's never going to do is beat himself. He's never going to really miss in pressure situations. He's going to make you earn it, right? And we saw David Goffin make some crucial errors in the previous round. Didn't earn it. Sebastian Korda, crucial errors, up 5-2. Didn't earn it. Denis Shapovalov in the 5th set in Australia. Didn't earn it. All areas where Nadal did not have his full confidence. Nadal did not have his best game. He won anyway because he forces you to earn it. Well, what does Carlos Alcaraz do? Serving out this match, he hits 4 winners. 4 of them. He hits a serve and volley, drop volley winner. He hits a beautiful backhand drop shot, followed up with the backhand pass down the line. Then he hits a forehand dropper for a winner. Then he somehow uses his speed to stay in the point, and he ends up hitting a forehand pass. 4 winners, Nadal didn't miss. He takes it. Alcaraz takes it. So not only do I think that Alcaraz was more opportune in attacking situations, was more potent and more eager, right? But also Alcaraz was doing more damage with his first serve. That was a big factor in this match, I thought, in both the first and the third sets. Let's just take a look at the numbers first. First serve points won. In the first set, Alcaraz 86% at 12 of 14, and Nadal 10 of 23. Okay, so that's 86% for Alcaraz, 43% for Nadal. Now let's go to set 3. 11 of 16, that's 69% for Alcaraz. That's kind of average. But for Nadal, 58%, 7 of 12. Now you will notice in the first set, Nadal made way more first serves than Carlos. And in the third set, that was also true by percentage. Nadal making 63%, Alcaraz making 57%. So what's the trend here? We have Alcaraz more effective, winning a higher margin of points when he makes the first serve, but Alcaraz is not serving a very high percentage. I felt that Alcaraz made a conscious decision here. Go for broke on the first serve. Hit it huge. Let's try to take advantage of this Madrid altitude and do serious damage on the first serve. I thought he was really going after it. And what gives him the ability to do that is how secure he feels on his second serve. He protected his second serve brilliantly in this match. That is twofold. The first part of that is having a great kick serve. And while Alcaraz's serve is not quite as strong as the rest of his game, his kick serve really shouldn't be lumped into that. His kick serve is not a weakness by any stretch of the imagination. It is heavy. It is really, really good. So he's able to protect his second serve by not only having a good second serve, but also being confident in winning neutral rallies against Nadal. So why not go after that first serve, crush it, go for lines? I thought it worked brilliantly, and it was all in line with this overall feel that Alcaraz was bringing to the match, which is I'm in control. I'm going to be the punisher. I'm going to be the one doing the damage. And not only was that the case off the ground, it was also the case on first serve, where, the reason I thought Nadal was so ineffective, there was not a lot of free points. There was not a lot of serve plus one success and early aggression, was because of the effectiveness of Nadal's forehand. So again, I'm starting to paint the picture here. Nadal's forehand, not good enough. Just not good enough in this match to be successful here. At every level, defensively and from neutral, not enough depth. Offensively, not enough potency. What you'll see if you go back and you look at the tape, or what you may have noticed during the match, Nadal just wasn't playing his forehand close enough to the lines. There was not that confidence to hit great great forehands, which is what it's going to take, obviously, against Alcaraz's speed and against his defensive capabilities. So there were many occasions where Nadal had an opportunity to take control in a point, and his forehand, it might have been attacking, it just wasn't good enough, and Alcaraz was able to turn defense into offense. I think the match point should go viral. It should go viral. Look at the match point. Look at the swing volley, the drive volley, and the forehand that Nadal had with plenty of open court, cross court. Both forehands were fine. They were like, all right. But if they were better, point over. Nadal wins because the opportunity was there. He just didn't take it. Nadal won the second set. Let's talk about that. He was already he got off to a good start in the second set, and I don't know what would have happened if Alcaraz didn't fall, but Alcaraz fell at 40-15, Nadal holding for 2-1, and they were on serve here. And there seemed to be an energy shift, and Alcaraz obviously got his ankle taped, and then there was another really long pause in the match because there was a medical emergency in the crowd. But ultimately, Alcaraz was a lot more tentative in his movement and missing just as much as he was really in the first set, but not really hitting as big and still missing just as much. And he was just definitely rattled. And I hate to not give Nadal much credit for winning the second set. I want to, but clearly Alcaraz post-fall was just not the same player. And I'm not convinced that's because there was an acute injury. In fact, I think there probably wasn't. I'm not convinced that Alcaraz was feeling pain. I even tweeted at Gill_Gross, if you want to follow me on Twitter. I even tweeted after the second set that the one positive thing is you weren't really seeing any pain in Alcaraz's face. And generally, if a player's in pain, you're going to see a wince. It's very hard to hide pain in a facial expression. And I just wasn't seeing any pain, yet it was so clear that Alcaraz wasn't the same player. So I think he might have been rattled mentally, and I think he might have not been a little bit shaken up and afraid to trust the ankle, and maybe even just lacking confidence as a result of the incident. But I don't think, I got the sense that he never really got injured from turning his ankle because he never really looked to be in pain. But at the same time, it clearly affected the match. And then, third set, I thought he made a really, I thought he started moving better and serving bigger and playing more aggressively again. And then he hits this beautiful forehand down the line pass at 15-30 at 1-all. And that kind of turned the match right there. It was kind of, okay, snap back into it, Alcaraz right back in it. And then it was kind of the same dynamic that we were seeing prior to the fall, where Alcaraz just felt in control. Even if Nadal was not missing much and Alcaraz was missing more, it just never felt like Nadal out-soliding Alcaraz was going to be a viable path to victory. And Carlos was just so much more potent when it comes to doing damage in all aspects of the game, from the serve to the +1, and then even in rally. I want to end on just kind of my takeaways from what this match might mean. Look, it's very hard to beat Nadal in Madrid. It's not easy. It's just easier than it is on clay anywhere else. And we've seen 4 great players beat Nadal in Madrid in the last 4 editions. We saw Thiem in 18, Tsitsipas in 19, Zverev in 21, and now Alcaraz in 22. Great players. You see any bums in there? No. Great players. All of them. But beating Nadal in Madrid, it's just a lot easier than beating Nadal anywhere else. So that's the first thing, is that it shouldn't really just be framed without any nuances. Oh, Carlos beat Nadal on clay. It should be, well, Carlos beat Nadal in Madrid. And we know what that means. We know that's incredibly difficult. We know that Nadal has won Madrid many times, 5 times. Nobody's won it more. One of those times was on indoor hardcourt. It really shouldn't even count. But we know it's very hard. We just know that it's not quite the same as beating Nadal in Rome. Certainly not the same as beating Nadal in Paris best of 5. So there's that. At the same time, Alcaraz continues to show that, like, there's just very little cracks. He's got the goods. He is great. He is what Thiem was when, you know, at the time in 18, what he was showing, and what Tsitsipas is on clay, and what Zverev is specifically in Madrid, so difficult to beat. Alcaraz is that guy who's a great player who can beat Nadal in Madrid. That's it. You know, there is no passing of the torch here. There is no large, big takeaways here to be had. At the end of the day, the torch remains in Paris. That is where the torch is. The torch will not leave Paris. And if the torch is going to be passed, that is where the torch needs to be passed. For now, what does this tell us? It tells us what we already kind of knew. Alcaraz is legit. Alcaraz can beat anyone on any given day. But the significance of this is nothing major when it comes to broad implications for what we're going to see in Roland Garros, because we've seen this movie before. Nadal loses in Madrid. It doesn't necessarily mean much, but it means that Alcaraz is a great player because that's what it requires to beat Nadal, even in Madrid. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.